Hi everyone, it's Kamal Fernandez here from Kamal Fernandez Dog Training. Again, talking in my series on Lifting All Ships. Lifting All Ships is my current series that I'm running, where I talk to fellow dog trainers, entrepreneurs, online people that deliver their training online, in order to try to uplift and give people ideas of which they can move forward in this current climate that we're in. Everybody is in a very surreal place at the moment with the pandemic that is sweeping the globe. But if we can uplift and get everybody through it together, collectively, hopefully we'll be better for it. The person across the screen is the ever so industrious Anthony Clarke, ever the businessman, ever the entrepreneur, and ever ingenious with the things that he's come up with. And I'm talking to him today about one of his latest endeavours, which is very, very ingenious and also charitable, to try and lift up people and the spirits and give back to those that are helping most in this current climate. So Anthony, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for taking a moment out of your busy schedule to have this conversation. How are you keeping? How are things? Oh, hello?
Oh, yeah, not too bad at all, really. I've been keeping myself busy with all the little projects that I've been running in the background, but other than that, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, because you've obviously got your place Lechdale, which yourself and your mum run. Which, how's that affected things in terms of your business at present then?
Well, obviously, with everything happening in the world, we've had to predominantly close down the majority of everything. We're still open for frontline workers. We've got quite a few clients that work for the NHS or are in the frontline battle, basically. So we have those dogs coming in, but the daycare and the training and all that side of thing has obviously had to take a back seat, really, and it's really slowed down.
Wow. So how about your training classes? Have you are you offering them online? Are you moved your business to online, anything like that, or have you come up with ways to sort of still support your clients, or have you had to, because of the nature of your work, had to literally shut up shop?
I've got a couple of online groups that have been running anyway for quite a long period of time anyway, and it's been one of those things that I've run probably for the last 4 or 5 years. What I've done is I've put together a program for a lot of the pet clients we have, and they're able to now sign up for that, which was something we didn't have in the first place. But a lot of the agility stuff and a lot of the basic training side of things has already been online. So it's just adding something into it for the pet clients, really. But trying to keep in contact with most of my clients on a regular basis and seeing really how they're getting on themselves as well.
Yeah, excellent. It's good that you're obviously, you're very creative in the things that you come up with, and the ideas that you've you've started and you've implemented within not only the agility but also other entities. Where does that all come from then, Anthony? Where does all your your ideas and your business, is it just, I mean, obviously you have a passion for it, but where does it all stem from?
Basically, when I'm sat thinking for a few minutes, I have to come up with an idea of something I need to be doing.
You're bored.
So the other week we were sat, obviously, and there was lots of these sort of like TikTok challenges being sent to us saying, oh, you guys need to do this and you need to do that. And we ended up kind of getting involved in a couple of the challenges, and a few people from all around the world dropping messages saying, oh, this was great. We've now passed it on to a few of our friends and so on. And that's really where I come up with the idea with Agility Relief, really, was to try and create some kind of togetherness in the agility world, as well as raising money, but also giving everybody a good laugh and enjoying social media in a way where it's not negative about, when are we going to be off this lockdown? It's actually getting people to log in and see something funny, actually, and engage with each other.
Yeah, I mean, what a great idea. So those are people that are just picking this video up. Anthony has come up with this incredible endeavor called Agility Relief, where he has gone to people within the agility community, and they've created 4 teams, so large, intermediate, medium and small, of handlers from across the globe. So there's obviously British handlers, there's handlers from the States, from Europe, etc. And they each day this week they are competing in different challenges. So yesterday was the Bake Off. Was it the Bake Off? And you had
last night was the Bake Off,
and that was that the large teams.
So basically, what happens is one member from each team.
Yeah. Okay.
So within their teams, I allowed them to choose who was going to do what challenge.
Right.
So we'll have 4 competitors in each challenge.
Yeah.
And last night was the the challenge of creating and designing a cake, which created quite a lot of laughter, seeing as some of the people had never even set foot in a kitchen, let alone baked a cake. So it was quite good fun.
Yeah.
And then that will run until Thursday with a different challenge each evening. And then we've got a couple of other things that we're going to be launching hopefully tonight or tomorrow in regards to what's going to happen for the rest of the week. So the whole agility relief will run for a complete 7-day period.
Excellent. And the real beauty of what you're doing, and what is the reason why you've put that together? Because that's really where the brilliance is.
Well, again, through messages via the silly sort of TikTok challenges, but also knowing in a way what people are going through. And we put a post up on the Agility Net the other week just to see how many people that were involved in agility actually worked for the NHS as well.
Wow.
And were affected with that. And to be fair, the amount of response we got saying, oh, we work in this or we work in that, and it's all related.
Yeah.
These are people that I socialise with week in, week out, have conversations with, see on a regular basis at competitions, and have no idea what they go through and what I'm going to class as everyday normal life.
Yeah.
And we see them in our small bubble each weekend throughout different dog sports and different areas in the country. And we only see them in that picture. But when we actually take them away from that picture and see what they do for a living, and they're out there putting their families at risk, putting themselves at risk to help save us, I think that needed to be appreciated. And by trying to connect the two with the agility and also then their day-to-day life, hopefully brought everybody together in a way in which we're benefiting not only the people who are at home kind of bored and maybe feeling a little bit down by it, also supporting the ones that are out doing the work for us.
Absolutely amazing. And just to clarify, so to further to what Ant said, exactly, it's all about giving back. So the premise of obviously the agility relief is there's fun challenges in which you can go on and support. There is a Just Giving page of which you can donate money, and all of that money, let me be really clear about this, okay, and this is really the thing to be celebrated the most, is all of that money is going to go to the NHS to acknowledge the amazing job and the work that they do on the front line. My mum has worked for the NHS for 30 plus years. My dad works for the in the hospital, so they are again in the front line, and it's very much something that, as Ant said, we often don't understand or appreciate what people do in their daily lives. And when you because we see them in a very false environment, i.e. a dog show, and we're all doing our thing, and you've got your game face on and your focus. You don't always have that interpersonal connection necessarily with a wider group. Obviously you have your core people that you associate with or mix with, but beyond that, and appreciating that the person that was picking up poles one week is actually the next week in this moment is on the front line, helping people get through the COVID virus. So amazing. Hopefully people are going to support that. I think it's been well received thus far. So there's other things that you're involved with, and how is that? So you're obviously involved in running OJAC, which is it's the Open Junior Agility Championship, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, another one of your brainchilds. So tell us a little bit about that and what's happened to that as normal. Because when was it? Was it meant to be in May?
No. So OJAC, it ran this year.
Okay.
It all went ahead. We were very lucky to be able to get it all kind of done and dusted before this whole lockdown period.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea behind OJAC come about 9 years ago, when I was still competing in juniors myself, and it was kind of promoting juniors and agility in a different format to what was available at the time.
Yep.
Obviously, we were at week in, week out normal shows, and there was junior classes, but there was nothing that I felt was specifically just a weekend just for the kids, and just for us to be able to kind of go and engage with people of our similar age, or maybe we're a lower sort of age junior and looking up to the juniors that have been successful, and actually just focus just directly on the kids for a weekend. And I come up with the idea with OJAC and try to make it a little bit about teams. So we've got, in the past, we've had England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, we've had Canada, we've had the USA, we've had Belgium, Holland. We've had kids from all over the countries come and compete. And what we've done is we've developed it over a few years to add different classes. We've got individual classes, we've got team classes, we've got speed stakes classes, which then moves on to qualify for a final at my other event, which is the British Agility Championship. So it allows them to be able to progress forward. And also this year, it was the first year that we used OJAC as one of the qualification heats for the WAO, which is the World Agility Open Championships, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary. And part of their 10th anniversary plan was to incorporate kids into that event as well.
Wow, so the WAO has been, the WAO has been running for 10 years?
Yeah,
wow.
So this is their 10th year anniversary.
Wow.
Obviously, that's due to go ahead in May, but that's obviously been postponed now until the end of August. So, yeah, it's the first year where the kids have been, well, not allowed to compete. They've had their own classes that they compete in. They're still going to compete against the adults as well. But it was great to have OJAC as part of the qualification for that. And it's grown over the years. Obviously, there's been sort of ups and downs in numbers of participants, depending on what age category they're in. And we've had sort of like a few kids come too old, so they're just out, and then a few just a little bit too young. But it's been one of those weekends that people look forward to, and the kids look forward to it, and the adults look forward to seeing their kids kind of enjoying, engaging, and meeting new friends. And it's something that I feel very strongly about, and I think it's something that's going to go on for years to come. Yeah,
I mean, again, so people that don't know Anthony, just to give a little bit of background, you went up through the ranks in the YKC and you won the YKC at Crufts. Was it the YKC or KCJO when you did it?
It was YKC.
YKC, okay, so it changed. So I'm really old. It was the KCJO when I did it, but there you go. So it was the YKC and you won it with Magic, your Gronendale Cross. And then obviously as a result of that, and the agility community is amazing, or the agility as a sport is amazing for nurturing young talent. And as a result, Ant is one of many people that have gone through the junior ranks, and actually has gone on to be on the world team, and which he and the British team got a gold medal in, when was it, Ant? Remind me.
2015.
15. So it just shows you by nurturing and supporting our youth how that can grow into, again, small acorns, big trees, and all that. So it's amazing and the thing to say, to acknowledge, Anthony, is how now it's a full circle moment, and that now as one of the older people and not a junior so much. You're still young, and don't worry. You're giving back in the form of OJAC, the British Open. Just tell us about the British Open as well. That's another competition or an event that you've organised.
Yeah, so the British Agility Championships is, again, it's kind of been developed through seeing different events that I've liked throughout the world, and kind of incorporating what I like with what I kind of think could be developed a little bit more to create an event which hopefully gives people something to look forward to. And what I've tried to do as well is give back to the competitor by putting cash prizes up for it. So through qualification on that weekend, you go through several different rounds, and then you end up going to the final. And in the final, there's a £400 cash prize to each winner, and then it drops down to third place, still with cash prizes. But also the support I've had through sponsors and stuff like that is trying to bring, in a way, the way I look at it is trying to bring something different into the sport, which promotes the sport in a way which is hopefully going to push it into a higher bracket, that maybe one day it'll become an official sport.
Amazing.
Or become something that is recognised by bigger authorities.
Like the Olympics, etc. That's amazing. How do you find this? So from a personal perspective, because this is something that I can speak for firsthand in my experience of, when we started a similar parallel to what you guys, certainly the WAO, so we started an obedience version of another organisation. It wasn't exactly welcomed with open arms, to say lightly, but we've come full circle, and it's been now 8 years now that we've been in existence. I know that sometimes there is a resistance to change, and as somebody that's so innovative in what you're doing, how has the reception been to people embracing being like things like OJAC and obviously the competitions that how has that been received, and how have you dealt with the positives and negatives of that, or has it just been welcomed with open arms?
I think with anything new, like you said, people, and I'm the same, I don't like change personally. I try to be that person that accepts change with open arms, but it always is one of those things where I'm always quite critical in my own brain of, is it going to benefit me, is it going to be able to push forward? And I'm quite hard-headed when it comes to stuff like that. So if I have an idea and I think that I can push it forward to become something, even if it takes 3 or 4 years and it takes a little bit more time in development, I'll stick with it. And with Ojak, like I said, the first year it was a huge success with everything, and that really did kind of hit the ground running. And it's progressed all the way through. And there's been times in there where I've come away from the weekend and everyone else says, "Oh, I loved it, I've loved it," and then in the back of my head is, "I didn't like this," or "I wasn't happy with how this went." I'm pretty critical of things. And then obviously there's going to be some people that are unhappy with things that have gone wrong at the event or whatever. And I always accept the criticism, and I try and encourage people to criticize, as long as they're being
constructive,
kind of constructive with it. And it's not just because they got disqualified in every round that they decide to then slag everything else off. I've always taken that on board and listen to it, and if I can imply it in a better format, or maybe explain something better, or go through a better process for future years. With the British Agility Championships, again, it's taken a few years to get running. I think when you look at it from an adult point of view, they're kind of saying, well, what's he going to get from it? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? It must be of some benefit to him. And then over a period of time, people start to become aware, and I try to promote it in a different format, maybe your regular weekend show, and you get criticism for that, and people are like, "Oh, it's becoming part of a process that is taken over social media." But I think in a way, if you look at, let's say, football or any other sport like that, or motor racing, their promotion, their sponsors, their exposure is such a huge part of their sport, and a huge part of their, in a way, their development of going forward. And I think that's somewhat what agility needs to be. We can sit there in the same groove for 3 or 4 years on the bounce and hope that things are going to get better. But the way my brain works is go out and kind of
make it happen.
Grab it by the balls and let's see how far I can go with it. You know what I mean? And some people say, well, you never stop working, you're always working, you're always focusing, you're always doing this. That's how my brain works. And that's how, well, with this last week, for example, people have had to come and basically prize me out of the office because I've been on calls with different people, and all the handlers that have been involved. I've been trying to communicate with them every couple of hours to give them updates on what's happening and how we can promote it and how we can do this to try and get the best from it. So I think it's one of those things where it's becoming more and more accepted now with the British Championships. Last year, I would say, was probably one of the better years on an organisation side of things. I was very happy how that went. And lots of people give me really good feedback about what they loved, and also then some of the things they like. We really love this and I like this process, but have you thought about this? So the criticism or the constructive help is definitely helping the event to get bigger and better.
So if you could, let's just say hypothetically, what would you say to somebody that's cynical about change or resistant to the various competitions that you mentioned? And this is applicable obviously to what I do as well. What would be your sort of words of advice, or how would you say something to them in a way that sort of gets them to be a little bit more open? What would you want to say to that person if you could speak to them face to face, as it were? That somebody that's really, really reluctant and resistant, what would you say?
I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to go through what they want from an event as well. So I'd ask them what they enjoy about an event, or what they enjoy about their regular weekend shows they go to, and kind of ask them, is it the course design they're looking for? Is it judges, a variety in different courses in which they're looking to run? Is it equipment? Is it venue? All that stuff. And what I try and do with my events is I'll try and create a professionalism through the judges. So, for example, for the British Championships, there will always be an international judge there. So we're bringing in a little bit of variety. Okay, by bringing in the variety, I think it gives people an exposure to the sport which maybe they've never had before. And the communication and the relationship between myself and the judge, and the judges of the weekend, we try and put everything in place. So through the ranking of the rounds and stuff, we start off so everyone kind of eases into it and it progressively gets more difficult, which I think is what we're looking for. I'd also say to them, think about what we're constantly seeing on social media about people complaining and moaning about. So we're in a farmer's field, the ground is terrible, the grass is too long, all that stuff. For all my events, again, I try to put it in a situation where everybody's on exactly the same level playing field. So whether it be the AstroTurf event I run, whether it be the Sand Arena event, everybody's going to be in exactly the same situation. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it as fair and as and is easy for everybody to start at the same point, and then we see how everybody kind of levels out throughout the competition. So it's taking the good things of the sport and hopefully trying to erase the bad things of the sport. And hopefully, then if someone is questioning whether they should enter it, it's worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really great advice. And just to pick up on a couple of points there, I think, like Ant said at the beginning of the conversation, you know, both myself and Ant have been doing dog sports for a little while, and you know, we have seen various things come and go, and I suppose, like everything, you know, change it makes people uncomfortable. I have to say, personally, I quite like change. I like things that are different, and I like innovative thinking. However, I absolutely also understand and respect that a lot of people don't. What I say to people, again, like as Ant said, is be open, you know, to different things, trying it at least. You know, give your feedback, give your comments, not from a place of criticism and to tear somebody down, but to give them information to almost articulate what is it that you feel is great about what the sport is, and how can somebody like Ant or myself, how can we incorporate that into our new ventures? So therefore, not to ostracize people from the conversation, but to actually hopefully include them, because I think both of us have got the same agenda, and that we are passionate about the sport, and we're passionate about making it hopefully better for people to enjoy. You know, and I think this is, yes, there is obviously the organizations have to fund themselves. I'm sure there is a business element to both, what Ant does. But if you equated the man hours in comparison to actually the return, I will assure you, anybody that knows anything about organizing any events, it's paltry, and it has to be a labor of love. It has to be something that you're passionate about. And I think Ant clearly said, you know, that is his passion. He's, you know, all these events he's organizing, it has to be something within you to motivate you. So that's amazing. The other thing that you've got on your agenda is K9 TV. Just talk to us a little bit about that.
So K9 TV was another kind of lonely night drinking a beer, thinking about
stop drinking, Ed. Stop drinking.
Again, it was kind of thinking about how we can educate people, maybe through exposure and also through different kind of dog sports and different activities, which we're all passionate about dogs in different ways, what they can offer us in relation to whether it be a support dog or whether it's a working dog, whatever. And it's about kind of promoting what there is there and what potentially we don't know about it and explaining that to people. So with K9 TV, I wanted to try and get across an episode on different situations that we can relate to dog activities and dog involvement. And we've only put 2 episodes out so far, but we've done one on the medical detection dogs, which was received really well. We had a lot of people contact us after that saying we had absolutely no idea how engaged the dogs are in the actual process and what they actually did. And that there was even an organisation or a charity that actually did anything in regards to this, which was great. So the exposure and that was fantastic for those guys as well. And also then the second one we did was on hydrotherapy, and we looked at the benefits of hydrotherapy. We went through a process of looking at it from a kind of a fun and fitness side of things, how it can benefit any dog. But then we also looked at it on a point of view where there was a dog that had come in who was a complete paraplegic, and we needed to show the process of this dog not really being able to support its own body weight, to over a period of time through physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, all of a sudden now it's going for walks on its own with its owner, it's able to stand on its own 4 feet, and it's actually now enjoying life in a different way. And really kind of promoting what these hydrotherapists do. A lot of people say, I take the dog down the lake for a swim and all that, which is great. And it's part of a social activity. But when they say, I'm taking them for a hydrotherapy session down at the lake, it's not the same thing.
No, definitely not.
And that's what we wanted to try and promote and educate in a way. And again, we had quite a lot of people contact us after saying, we didn't even know that this was really a thing. We thought it was only for dogs that potentially had arthritis or had a disability, and they didn't realise. And again, it's just showing education in a way and seeing, let's say, a industry from the inside out instead of the outside in.
Amazing. So what else industries or what else projects have you got coming up in terms of K9 TV? What else have you got people can look out for? And is it K9TV.com on YouTube?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
k9tv.com, yeah, it's on the YouTube channel. So over the next few weeks, we've got 2 more episodes coming out. We've got one on flyball. So we followed the 2019's champions.
Right.
You guys may have seen him, the Aces High, which is the Whippets and the Lurcher.
Oh, wow.
That set such a fantastic record, as well as just the social media kind of buzz as well, through using different breeds. So we followed them on their road to success, and also followed them at Crufts this year as well, where things didn't quite go to plan.
Right.
But again, as a team, and seeing how they work from the inside, if you know what I mean, and seeing how their community and their team connected through these times of things that went wrong, and go through that. So we've got kind of like impersonal with those guys, and also we've got a husky racing team.
Oh wow, cool.
So it's on land in this country, so it's using a rig instead of actually on the snow. But again, both myself and Ashley were able to have a go at it. So we wanted to see just how difficult it was. And there's quite a few sort of like comedy sketches in that as well, because it was quite, although it seems relatively easy, sit on a sled kind of thing and let the dogs do the running, there's quite a lot involved. So again, learning experience for us on every episode that we've done so far, and which we've filmed. I've learned a lot, which has been something which then I can hopefully, through the pet clients and the different industry what we've got here at the centre, is also educate. Because I'm lucky enough, I've got a hydrotherapy pool here, but until I actually looked at the real
detail
side of it, because, for example, I just own it and then I have someone else manage it and run it for me, which is great. They know all of that, but I didn't. Which, again, it was a massive learning curve for me.
I think that, the takeaway from that is, I think everything, like flyball, husky rate, there is a detail within it, isn't there? And there's, it's educating people gives you a newfound respect for that industry and all the work that goes into it. I think it's very easy to, like, as you've articulated, and in terms of all the things that you're working at, people see the finished product. They come to your events, they think, this is amazing, they see all the they see the fruits of your labor, as it were, or they criticize it, etc. But they don't realize that all the hours of work and that go into it, whether it's putting on an event like OJAC or it is husky racing, it's all the hours before. It's a bit like that iceberg analogy. It's all the stuff that happens before and the work that goes in. I think it's amazing to share that and to see it from that, and I think it's great for other people to see that. So from a personal point of view, Ant is also an incredibly competitive agility handler. He competes at the top level of agility and the World Championship level, as I mentioned before. How are you managing obviously you have your own training equipment. How are you managing with your own dogs? Who are you working? Who are your young dogs? And tell us a little bit about the new endeavour that you're embarking on at the moment with your Mally.
So with the whole agility relief thing, at the minute I'm putting in probably about 17, 18 hours a day on just agility relief. So it's all been a bit crazy. So the time in which I've had to be able to go out and be with the dogs is kind of just been enjoying them, walking them, and kind of just letting them have a week off, really, because I've been putting in so many hours on this. But up until that point, after Crufts and stuff, we were ready to kind of, in a way, take the season as it comes. And for Protest, which is my border collie, it was probably going to be his last really competitive season, which for me is kind of disappointing now that we're not being able to go out into it. But he's one of those dogs where I feel when I go out and train him, he's kind of going, well, I knew that. So I'm always having to push myself really hard in my training sessions, which I do with the other dogs, but it's pushing stuff outside the box constantly with him, to try and push that boundary a little bit more.
How old is he, Ant? How old is he?
He's 8, coming up 9.
Is he? Wow, God. Bloody hell.
Yeah, so the time flies.
Yeah, and has he won a ticket?
He's won one, yes.
Yeah, so he's won a ticket in agility. Then after that you have, is it Hustle?
Yeah, so Hustle is 2 and a bit years old now. Again, this was going to be her first season. Which, again, I'm kind of at a point where she was ready to go in sort of some jumping classes, and I've been developing through the stuff in regards to the contacts and stuff. I'm looking at a few different methods in that for her. But yeah, I was excited about getting started with her this season. But again, now it's just replanning what I had already set out for this season, and thinking, okay, let's look at some other skills. What else do I need to develop? Where can I go with my training? What can I push up to do, and develop that really? So yeah, I'm excited about being able to get her out and compete with her a little bit.
So they're two agility dogs. So you obviously also have Sting, who is your Malinois, and you're embarking on a new sport. So just tell us a little bit about that and how you're getting on.
Yeah, so after running Natalie Webb's Ava in agility, who was a Malinois, I kind of got to love the breed pretty quickly. The power, the work ethic, the desire. And I kind of set about looking at potentially finding one for myself. And I was lucky enough to find a breeder, and the dogs I absolutely loved. And I spent a lot of time kind of following the sire and going through a process of, is this something for me? If it all falls apart, do I be able to use him in agility and stuff like that? Which I 100% could have. But for me, I looked at a completely different route. And I went along the Mondial Ring route. Again, a little bit of research, looking at what's available to me in this country, because the majority of the competitions and stuff are in Europe, so it's going to mean I'm going to have to kind of invest more time and effort in going abroad to be able to compete and stuff. And actually looked around to see who can help me with training regarding what I want to do in this country as well. And I was lucky enough to find the British Mondial Ring Association and some of the guys that I know through relationships within agility and stuff, and had a conversation with those guys. And then I got Sting, and I've just kind of kept working through my training plans with that, really.
Are you enjoying the process then? What made you, was it just a case of, wanting a new challenge as a trainer, because you've obviously been successful in agility? What made you go, right, I want to try something different then? What was the motivation for that?
I think it was trying something different. And also, I think when you get set in your way with a sport, sometimes it can become a bit stale. And if you're doing the sort of same thing week in, week out, I think sometimes you need to freshen something up a little bit. And that's what I've really enjoyed about this, having a different breed and also having a different discipline. Is not only kind of, I've jumped in the pool, I've jumped in with my arms and legs tied together. So it's meaning I'm really having to go through the process and learn. And already I've made a lot of mistakes already, and in the future, if I've got another dog and things like that, I would have changed that process immediately. So I'm going through that process and I'm not undoing training, but it's going through and thinking, actually, I've done too much of this. I need to do more of this, and work through that process and developing the relationship with a whole different circle of trainers as well, and different methods and different ideas and stuff like that. It's been a great learning curve, but also it's helped me to be able to help other people that might have had something, maybe not to the extreme that I've got or that trainer's got, but they might have a pet dog that shows very similar behaviours. So I've been able to sort of learn from that and help develop others as well.
Excellent. So, and how are you managing? Obviously, those of you watching that don't know what Mondio is, Mondio Ring is a sport that's competed across the world, where it's a combination of bite work and obedience and nose work. It's an amazing sport, and the test is actually really, really challenging. At the top level, it can be 45 minutes approximately, and there's a lot of the dog is under test throughout the whole thing. So there's a lot of long behavior chains, and there's lots of the dog has to go from one thing to another. And there's a lot of control, and then the dog has to bite 1 second. There's a load of factors to it, and it's really, really amazing to watch, to see done well. How are you managing then, without obviously access to, for example, a decoy or a secondary person, or have you managed to rope Ashley into putting a bite suit on?
Yeah, she's put the bite suit on a couple of times to help.
Bless her.
But
She's a good egg.
I've managed to sort of improvise a little bit with having things set up. I'm lucky enough we've got the centre here, and we've got enough land to be able to create sort of things that I need to be able to have as well. So I've been pretty open in trying to create things, and
good.
we're sort of in the final stages now of having an actual Mondio field set up here.
Excellent.
So I can actually then go out there and specifically work through things that I've seen at different events and been advised with. So yeah, that's something that I've been lucky enough to be able to set up and taking advice from some of the guys that I've been working with and the trainers and things. But yeah, things like having access to a decoy and stuff. I've used mannequins. I've used different sort of situations where the dog has to still go through the same process, but it doesn't have maybe the movement of the decoy or whatever it may be. So yeah, I've improvised, but I think I'm getting to a point where it's starting.
I'm surprised you haven't talked your mum into doing it. Bless her, she probably would.
She's done it once.
Bless your mum. She's a good one. But it didn't work out too well for her. So you've got obviously lots of things going on. You're incredibly busy. You're obviously continually working, and that's a huge part of who you are. What do you do then for downtime then? How do you find a way to balance that? Because that's the conundrum that I certainly struggle with. What do you do?
What's downtime?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At the minute.
Have you struggled in this time? But joking, have you struggled with the fact that we are a little bit restricted? I mean, I know you have a great place where you have a lot of space, etc. But nonetheless, has it caused you any frustration on a personal level not to be able to do all the things or travel the way that you used to, or have you been you just gone, do you know what? It is what it is. Let's focus on what we can do.
Yeah, I think I started off with, this is going to be hard work. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is going to be really difficult. And obviously when you've got staff to think about as well, I'm thinking I've got to make sure I can support the staff and keep everything going, because obviously their families and so on and so
absolutely.
on. But the process in which I've gone with is, it is what it is. The world's in the same situation. We've kind of got to grab it by the ears and go with it. So I've started to develop things slightly different here. I've started kind of recreating some of the areas, the training areas here at the centre as well. So I've taken the time to be proactive in things that are going to benefit the centre and benefit everybody else when we get back to normality. But also, like you said, with the downtime things, it's obviously difficult because going out and socialising, or every now and then I'll go up and meet Lee Gibson and we play sort of five-a-side football with a small group of us and stuff. Obviously that can't happen at the minute. So in one of the training rooms, we've converted that into a bit of a gym at the minute. So we're able to just go in there and work out a little bit. Also just getting out, running or going on the bike a little bit. I quite enjoy cycling. So I just go out and just cycle 20, 30 minutes or so. Just get my head out of the office, really.
Yeah, absolutely,
which for me is quite a difficult thing to do, even when we're not on these restrictions. I'm one of those people that you'll do a full day's work, you'll go in, you'll have your food, and then I'll be thinking, right, let's go back to the office, whereas most people are thinking about maybe relaxing and going to bed. And I'll finally leave the office at 3 a.m. Something stupid like that.
I can absolutely empathise. I think it's often very much talked about people that find this situation to cause them anxiety or are depressed by the situation. That is definitely something to be mindful of. But for people like myself and Anthony, who are probably the other extreme, where we like to be busy and we're always doing, the frustration can be because the restrictions. And again, like Ant said, it's about reframing those things in your mind to control what you can control and to use the time proactively. If there's things that you've been putting off, whether it be from a dog training point of view or from a personal point of view or from a from your home point of view, now is the time to, as Ant said, grab the bull by the horns and use this opportunity rather than let it implode internally. And again, like Ant's come up with Agility Relief, I've been putting these vlogs together, just finding ways that you can be proactive and use the time in a way that's going to, as in Ant's instance, and hopefully the same with lifting all ships, is to lift other people up so that you can inject a level of positivity into the current climate and hopefully make everybody feel better for it, whether it's laughing at people's antics on Agility Relief or listening to some inspiring words from the people that I've been talking to. And it's been absolutely fantastic as always. Great to talk to you. always interesting. There's so many things that you do, and your character traits that I can absolutely relate to. The passion and the drive are immense. I commend you for all you do, and I hope that everything that you touch has turned to gold. And I hope Agility Relief is a huge success. I will hopefully, again, people get online, support Agility Relief. You know, the NHS are on the front line. They're putting themselves first so that we can all be safe, and we can go home to our loved ones, and our loved ones can be safe. So support them. Just Giving. I will post the link on this video. Anthony, I love you and leave you. It's been epic. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and regards to your family.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Take care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.